Hi, good morning. So it turns out the final season of The Umbrella Academy didn't have to be as bad as it was. There were actually better scenes written and filmed that they just decided to cut for reasons I will never understand. Watching the deleted scenes after the disappointing fourth season is just adding insult to injury because it shows that they could have given us a better final season. They could have given us more sibling interaction and literally any closure for Klaus's storyline. But no, they just chose not to. We'll talk about the scenes, but I have to say I don't know why they cut them in the first place. First of all, they already filmed them, and second, it's streaming, so you're not dealing with the time slot constraints of cable. So why not just make the episodes longer? It can't be that they were worried about pacing because the pacing wasn't great anyway. These deleted scenes have part of what I feel was missing from the season, character development, because it's literally their last chance. First is a scene between Diego and Luther, and it happens as they're getting ready to head to the CIA building, which would have put it about halfway through episode 4. Do you know what actually happens halfway through episode 4? 2 minutes and 17 seconds of Jean and Abigail as Cy Grossman, as Denny Muntz at some keeper's headquarters that they've set up in a King Reg. They don't even learn in this scene that Bennifer merging is the end goal. That happens later. This scene is just Cy being weird and us not knowing why because we don't know that he's Abigail yet. It's dumb. And it just feels so pointless when you compare it to the deleted scene that we could have had, which was Luther and Diego having a conversation where Luther gets to air out these regrets that he has, and he asks Diego if he's a bad leader, and Diego is like, yeah, I've always told you that, but it doesn't make you a bad person. And Diego tells him that they have a second chance to save Ben, and it's just a nice sibling bonding moment. It's not much, but it's something, because Luther didn't matter this season. He added nothing to the plot. You could have removed him, you could have written him off as being out there looking for Sloane, and nothing would have changed. All he did was find out that Five's boss was in the Keepers, which really truly did not matter. It didn't change anything. It just made Five look dumb, because I guess they were really committed to ruining him this season. But this scene gives Luther a moment to acknowledge his regrets before he ceases to exist. The next deleted scene seems like an alternate version of Viktor finding Ben in the department store. About 18 minutes into episode 6, Viktor manages to get into the department store to try and help Ben. He finds Ben and Jennifer visibly mutated and growing roots. But in the deleted scene, we first see Ben talking to Jennifer as she's lying on the ground, and they look normal until Viktor comes in and tries to urge Ben away from Jennifer, and we see that they're actually all mutated already. I think this scene would have helped with the point that the virus was interfering with Ben's perception, like Viktor said on the phone, whatever you're seeing or feeling can't be trusted. I don't know why they didn't go with this version, but it did make me rewatch the original scene, and I'm wondering, how did Jennifer make it out to Ben later in the episode? How did she move from that spot? Like, way to plant, Anne, you literally grew roots. And unrelated, why are there little hands growing out of them? Why is that happening? Finally, Klaus. Klaus has probably done the dirtiest. 3 of the 5 deleted scenes are Klaus scenes. The first one happens at Little Grace's birthday party, putting it about 20 to 30 minutes into episode 1. Klaus is explaining to Lila's family a little bit about each of the siblings, and Lila's mom asks, who's the thieving, cheating addict? And somebody throwing in a total scumbag comment before Klaus says that it's him, and they just laugh it off. It's weird because it gives Lila's family a couple lines because they literally don't feel like real people in the rest of the show. They're just like exclusively in the background. I don't know if I heard them say anything besides the subway is here, what should we do? But it also makes them look like jerks because that was literally so rude. Klaus deflates and Five catches his attention. He congratulates Klaus on his sobriety, and it's just a nice little moment. I don't love Lila's family putting him down because I know how much it sucks to be reminded of how much you used to suck. But Five and Klaus having a moment and a little cheers with Klaus having a juice box is just something that would have been so great to see in the show. The next Klaus scene is a quick one, so I don't know why they would cut it, but I'm thinking it would happen about halfway through episode 3, between Klaus yelling at his siblings and leaving them, and being confronted by Quinn in the alleyway. Basically, Klaus is walking down the street, angrily grumbling to people to get out of his way when he walks through a ghost, and he's not happy about it. If this happens before he steals the TV from Allison's house, it makes so much more sense, and it makes the connection between the return of his powers and his relapse. And then the final deleted scene is Klaus in an AA meeting that seems to be the whole point of his entire storyline, so why the fuck was it deleted? Probably intended for the end of episode 5, the scene has Klaus showing up to an empty AA meeting where he's told to just take a pamphlet, but he insists on having a meeting because he needs one, and that alone, already miles better than what we got in this season. He shares that while he had been sober for almost 3 years, it was only because he was staying in his safe little bubble. He had been scared of death and scared of life and taking it out on the people who love him the most, and the whole scene makes this storyline make sense, and it makes Allison saving him add to his story when you have the ending. But we didn't have the ending. We had him gasping for air coming out of the coffin because, oh yeah, as the deleted scene revealed, he was dying over and over while he was trapped. And then next thing we know, he's showing up to Lila and Diego's all chill in episode 6. They skip right over the crux of his final season storyline. There's a whole scene of Viktor and Reginald being attacked on their way to find Ben that could have been swapped out for this Klaus scene. Seriously, in the final season, you think it's more important for Viktor to use his powers to protect Reginald than it is to give Klaus a proper resolution? It's really crazy to me that they deleted all of these scenes. Watching them now, they seem absolutely necessary for the story they were trying to tell, and I'm left even more confused by the choices they made with this season, since they clearly had some good ideas. How did we get what we got when they also had this? Maybe I'll just make my own season 4.